Then we go in, what is a full-time employee? And these are the employees that you must offer health benefits. It's pretty straightforward to put them into two camps. The one camp is that the employee performance services in any capacity who's regularly scheduled to work at least 30 hours a week must be offered benefits. And then, so they come in, they're hired, you know that they're going to be reasonably expected to work 30 hours a week, you provide them coverage right away, within the 90-day period, the college date of hire. But the second group is the group that it's much more difficult to discern, and we have to do a tracking system to capture that. Any college employee who works on average a minimum of 30 hours a week, which is really 1,560 hours a year, is the best way to determine that. And that is divided by 12, that becomes 130 hours a month, and then divided that number by 52, you get to 30 hours a week. And what we have to have a tracking period, what we call a measurement period. And the college has set forth a specific measurement period that they are proposing to track these folks. And these are what you call your variable hour employees, who may be hired and you don't know. They may work 20 hours one week, they may work 30 the next, they may work 35 the next. We also have your adjunct faculty that would fall in there. And go into the next slide. For purposes of the college, you have certain groups that you're currently not offering benefits to, and these are the folks that you're going to need to track on that level. And as I mentioned, your part-time faculty, your coaches, any classified limited term employees, exempt employees such as your professional experts, classified permanent employees that work less than 20 hours a week. And these are what they're really scheduled to. We want to still track them in case some of them could conceivably fill in another position. They could increase their hours. So this is why we want to track to make sure that we fall within the 95% full-time employee threshold. So what we did is we determined a period of which we would track their hours. And initially we have a 1/1/15 effective date. So we set up or proposed to set up a measurement period of November 1, 13 through October 31, 2014. And then those people that had an average in that group of unbenefited employees who averaged 30 or more hours a week, we would offer them coverage during a stability period of January 1/15 through December 31/15. That is to comply with the ACA mandate of 1/1/15 that takes effect. Now, the college has a plan year that begins on 7/1/15. So what we're proposing to do is change the measurement period going forward so that we have like a second one going on at the same time so that we can capture it to get on track. So going forward on July 1/15 and every plan year thereafter, we'll be able to sync the measurement period and stability period to agree with that. So our next measurement period will be May 1, 2014 through April 30, 2015. And then you have a July 1 to June 30 period, which you would have to offer them coverage. There is also what they call an administrative period, which gives you a little time between the measurement period and the stability period, which is the period that you'd have to offer coverage so that you can count the hours, give the person enrollment materials, get them enrolled into your plan. What do you do during this measurement period? The biggest thing is, well, the main purpose of the measurement period is to track an employee's hours. And from an educational institution perspective, there are unique challenges. Under ACA, you have to track every hour that an employee is paid or entitled to pay for his duty. You add to that certain hours or periods of work that they may not be working, but they're paid or entitled to pay. It should be noted here, and it includes a couple of what they call special unpaid leaves in here, which is FMLA and military leave. So anybody out on FMLA leave, they may not get paid, but we still have to allocate hours to their time. And then the last category, for educational institutions only, they singled out if you have employment break periods, you have your winter intersession, your summer intersession. We would talk out here a maximum of 500 hours per calendar year, but you basically have to count on. 500 hours is equivalent of 3 months on a full-time basis, but you'd be allocating hours pretty much all through the break periods. Now for the fun part. We have ACA taxes and fees. Starting January 14, we have new fees that are being assessed either to the health insurer or to the actual employer. They'll be paid, they'll be passed through. In your case here, in each of these cases, they're actually being assessed on the health insurer, which will be your Anthems and Kaiser, but they will be passed through on your premium. In many cases, they've already beginning January 1. The first fee is the Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute fee, which is the PCORI fee or comparative effectiveness fee. And it's a temporary fee, and it is to fund a program that is really for research purposes to find out what sorts of treatments work and which ones do not. The effective date is really for plan years ending, the first effective date is plan years ending on or after October 1, 2012. So in the case of the college, it was your plan year ending 6/30/2013. You have a fee assessed at that point. It's not due until 7/31/2014, but that's going to be your first year, and it's going to go for 7 years. The fee is $1 per member per year for the first year, and then for subsequent years, it's $2 per member, and then there's a little inflationary increase for every year after the second year. The insurer fee is probably the larger fee because it's assessed based on the carrier's business in the state of California. And they won't know it really until after the first of the year, but they'll look at the percentage of what their business is in the state, and then plans are going to be assessed specific fee. And we're going to go through this and how we've estimated what the college's fees and the impact it has on your plan. Lastly, there's a temporary, and the insurer fee is ongoing. It's not temporary, it's a permanent fee. It'll be assessed annually. The transitional reinsurance fee, on the other hand, is a fee of $5.25 per member per month. 2014 is going to be the first year for that. It's a 3-year, it was designed as a 3-year temporary fee. There is, it looks like there may be a postponement of years 2 and 3 in this. But right now, we know that 2014, the fee will need to be paid, and it's $5.25 per month per individual. This schedule is intended to show, how we estimate the taxes and fees are going to be projected for the college's plan. And as you know, if you go into the red items here, we have what we've estimated, and this is for your July 1, 2013 through June 30, 2014 plan. We have the PCORI fee, which is, as I mentioned, is $1 per person, so there's roughly a $1,700 fee assessed. Then we don't know, we've estimated the insurer fees, and we estimated somewhere between, it looks like 1.3 and 1.3% the cost of your premium. And then there's the transitional reinsurance fee. The latter two are really prorated based on the fact that your July 1 plan year is halfway from January 1, 2014 to the end of June. As such, it looks like roughly the value of your fees that are going to be reflected in your premiums for this year would be 2%. Next year, it looks like the increase we're estimating somewhere between 3.5, roughly around 3.58 somewhere around 3.5%, the cost of premium. Glenn, do you have anything that you? Okay, now this is the favorite topic. I'm sure many of you may have heard of what they call it, the Cadillac tax. And this is not going to be assessed until 2018. But any annual premium, this is the employer plus the employee contribution together for individual coverage that exceeds $10,200 for the year, and family income exceeding 27, family coverage of the family tiers exceeding 27,500 for the year, is going to be subject to a 40% excise tax. There are certain provisions there that adjust the 10,200 and 27,500 based on whether you're in a high-risk profession, early retirees, or also age and gender. That, again, we did an assessment for the college. Total potential Cadillac's tax liability in 2018 could be as high as $600,000 based on information we know today. And as you can see, the Anthem PPO bears a big portion of that. And this is, again, it goes to the richness of the benefit offered in your plan. Again, where there are a lot of factors, a lot of changes, we have 3 years going forward, or actually 4 years before this takes effect. But it could be a significant liability. Are there any questions?
So, members of the board, before I recognize Trustee Clark, so essentially I'm going to give the background. I'm going to condense this down very quickly. Long Beach Community College District, considered a large employer under the ACA, also referred to as the Obamacare, is therefore required to provide coverage for employees who meet the definition of a full-time employee. In order to establish who is a full-time employee, the district must adopt a system of measurements and stability periods to determine in advance of a coverage period whether certain employee groups qualify as full-time. So the recommendation is going to be a consolidation of this. It's recommended the board approves a 12-month standard measurement period immediately followed by a 2-month administrative period and a 12-month stability period in preparation for the implementation of the Affordable Care Act's requirements that large employers, such as the college, offers coverage to at least 95% of the employees working on average a minimum of 1,560 hours annually or potentially pay a penalty. So accordingly, the motion will be on, I'm going to ask for the motion, then we'll have questions, and the motion will be to entertain a motion to implementation of the Affordable Care Act measurements and stability period. So could I have a motion and a second first, and then I'll recognize Trustee Clark to ask. Motion by Trustee Clark. Second by Trustee Arango. Chair recognizes Trustee Clark.
Okay, let me say I'm supportive of the act per se, but I can understand why there's some confusion. Just hearing you talk, I wish I'd gone to Caltech or MIT. I might have been able to. But I'm curious, is the plan that we have, employees, does that meet the minimum right now?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And most of your employees, you're covering most of your full-time employees right now.
Okay, and then this act, do we cover part-time employees? I didn't quite get the picture on that.
Well, the act itself doesn't require coverage for part-time employees. The college, however, does, from anything from 20 hours per week and above. But there's certain groups within the college that are not offered benefits. And those are the ones that we really want to make sure they're covered for, that we're capturing them to make sure that none of them are actually working full-time under the ACA definition so that we don't assess them.
If you can define, because what you're saying, it sounds as if even though we meet the requirements, we do have monies that we would owe to the government over and above the cost of the insurance?
For the purposes of that penalty, yeah, potentially, only we're going to be, that's why we have to have the measurement period to track, to make sure that we don't have any employees that could slip through the cracks.
I think what Trustee Clark is referring to is the fees that we have to pay.
Oh, afterwards, yes. That's just the one penalty for not offering coverage to full-time. But then there are fees that are assessed that basically have to pay for the exchanges, et cetera.
So even if we meet all the requirements, there are certain fees that are still required.
That's exactly true.
Okay. It's a very interesting act. I hope we were able to get this untangled, because I think it has real merit in the long term, but it is very difficult to, I think, completely understand all of the different aspects of it. I think that what was the bill, something like 200 pages?
I think
you missed a few
there's like
zeros.
2,000 pages, and the regulations are like well over 10,000
Well,
at
I'm
this
sure
point.
we'll work it out, but it's going to be a lot of work, I think, to really get to that point where it's actually beginning. And I think probably Medicare and Social Security had some of the same problems. Yeah.
I think 200 pages in Washington, D.C. is called an executive summary. Chair recognizes student trustee.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question that came to my mind. On campus, we have several students that are on their federal work study program, and normally they don't work more than 20 hours per week, or they usually work between 18 and 20 as much. How will this affect them, if it's going to affect them, or in what category they are going to be included?
Well, I think definitely if they're a tax paying on their own, they file taxes and everything else, they're W-2 as far as their employees. So you would want to make sure, and we've mentioned
Richard,
this, that we're going to
yeah.
be including them. We will include them as part of our measurement, and to make sure that none of them who work over 30 hours a week are
Let-
not denied coverage,
Yeah.
or the offer of coverage.
You would have to work over 30 hours per week to be covered, and because as a federal work study student you work a max of 20, then more than likely that's not going to be the case where we would be covering students.
Thank you. Other questions at this time? There is a motion and a second on the floor. No other questions. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Our next item is the staff equity report.
Yes, Vice President Delgado will also be presenting this.
And this is an information item only.
Yes.
Thank you, President Oakley, and I'm going to go down to the lectern. Good evening, board members and colleagues. I'd like to introduce my co-chair of the Staff Equity Committee, Lee Douglas. Together we're going to give this presentation, which is an annual update. I think by now most of you are used to this. A few things that we'll cover quickly. We're going to go over the student profile as we always do, the hiring demographics, some initiatives we're undertaking, and if anybody has any questions, we'll move to that as well. Looking at our student profile, it is interesting to see today where we're at. When you look at the largest minority population here on this chart is now becoming almost a majority population. The Hispanic population is our largest ethnic group here at 50%. Last year, it's interesting, they were at 44%, so it just goes to show how much they're growing. By the same token, the white population last year was at 15%. You see it today at 17%. The Asian population was at 15. It's at 14 today. The same for the black population. They were 15 last year. They're 14 today. And the whites in 2012 were 20%, so they continue to go down in percentage. But it does give us a perspective on what our population, what our community is looking like here in Long Beach. Now, what I have for you next is a few charts of our employee groups, longitudinal charts beginning in 2008, 2009, all the way to the present today. These charts reflect our applicant pools and our hiring. So looking at this particular chart, this is our management recruitments. And what you'll see here in 2012, if you go all the way to the end, 2012, we hired 10 management employees. And of the 10, 70% were diverse hires. The applicant pool was 57% diverse. Classified, there's the same chart, but this is for classified recruitments. We hired 32 in 2012-13. The applicant pool was 71% diverse. 59% of our hires were diverse. Our full-time faculty, we hired 2 this past year in computer office studies. That was our cybersecurity person and a math instructional specialist. Of the 2, we had a 50% diverse hiring rate. 55% of those pools were diverse. You can see the numbers if you look back to 2008, 2009, all the way to the present. You'll see that the applicant pools seem to be increasing in diversity as we move along. This is our part-time faculty recruitment. Here we have 187 that were hired this past year. 57% of that applicant pool was diverse, and 46 of the 187, 46% were diverse hires. And this is just a composite of all of the different groups together, where you can see that in management, 70% of our hires were diverse, 59% in classified, 50% among the full-time faculty, and 46% among the part-time faculty. This set of charts here reflects what our current management diversity looks like. So you can see it again longitudinally back to 2008, where it was reflected by 41%, in 2009, 2010, 43%, 10, 11, 46, 11, 12, 48, and 2012, 13, 51%. Seems to be increasing there. An interesting number down below is the number of our management team. At the end of June 30, 2013, we had 91 management employees. Currently in the fall, we have 83. Remembering beginning July 1st, we did have some layoffs, so that number has gone down. With our classified staff, you will see today we have a 56% diverse employee group, and we have 399 classified employees. Full-time faculty, due to retirements and so forth, we are at 270 full-time faculty employees, and we have a 35% diverse faculty group. And you will see those numbers inching upwards every year. Unfortunately, if you look at the number of people we've hired, we haven't hired very many. We have not seen significant increase in diversity, but by the same token, we haven't hired very many. Our part-time faculty diversity is also inching up. This last year, we hired 187, and so today we have 694 part-time faculty with us. Last year, we almost achieved a 5% increase in the number of diversity of our part-time faculty staff. This is the current diversity of all employee groups. That's what I just went over. So here's a composite of all the different groups together. And here is a chart that reflects, it's a comparative chart from last year, 2011, 2012 to 2012, 13. You'll see some movement, I'd say some significant movement among management. Classified's pretty static, a little bit of growth in our full-time and part-time staffing. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Lee Douglas.
Good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure this evening of talking about some of the exciting initiatives that we have going on here at Long Beach City College. Just to give you a little bit of background, from the time the staff equity plan was developed, and I believe it was in 2008, it's really been a living document. And each year, the staff equity committee, we make constant efforts at revising, refining, and improving the document. Much has been accomplished. And I think this is the third or fourth year that I presented to the board. And I find myself saying this every year, that much has been accomplished, yet I still believe that much needs to be done, as you can tell by some of the numbers. Let me start with the staff equity plan. It's divided into three different components that you see there before you: the policies, practices, and procedures, recruitment and the hiring process, and dialogue and professional development. This slide before you represents the efforts that have been made or will be made in those three areas. And in the interest of time, I won't read all of these things to you, but I will just highlight a couple of them. One being the faculty internship program, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And last spring, we offered it a very exciting Walking the Talk Diversity and Inclusion Conference here on the campus that was very well received. I was just referring to the Walking the Talk conference. As a follow-up, one of the things that we found is that we have some exciting programs, and we'll bring great guest speakers out to come out and speak on the topic of diversity. But yet there often is not a lot of follow-up, and people are very excited about it. They're ready to do something and try to make a difference. So what we've tried to do with a couple of these initiatives is to follow up and to provide ongoing training and professional development for the faculty and staff here at Long Beach City College. And with that in mind, the Staff Equity Committee is currently working on creating a diversity, equity, and inclusion certificate program for the faculty and staff here at Long Beach City College. And before you see the two main purposes of the program, one of which support our highly diverse student population and their educational progress and achievement. And second, to understand our highly diverse workplace in order to be active participants in a supportive workplace environment. And some of the schedule of courses you'll see there, again, I won't read them all for you, but we decided to try to be diverse in our offerings and offer a lot of different courses so people could get a lot of training in various areas, including working with Hispanic or Latino students, African American students, the LGBTQT population as well. We're very excited about this. It will be launched in spring 2014. And we'll have more information forthcoming, but faculty would actually be able to get, and staff will be able to get a certificate in workplace diversity training. All right. The faculty internship program, it is now entering its fourth year, and it was put together in an effort to increase the diversity of our pool, of potential part-time hires or adjunct hires here at Long Beach City College. And the intent is to pair an intern with a master teacher in their discipline of choice. And typically we try to focus on those disciplines which may have a more difficult time developing a diverse pool of hirees, including English and math. On the next few slides, you'll see some of the participants in this year's program. And before I go to them, we've had, as of spring, we'll have 23 participants that have gone through the program. We typically have 5 per year. And we're very excited to report that 40% of those that have completed the program have been hired as adjuncts. So we're seeing progress being made. And as I always say, much is still to be done, but progress has indeed been made. I'm not sure if any of them are here this evening, but I'll just go through the slides and show you the folks that are participating this year. And so that I don't butcher anyone's name, I will not call them by name. There are a few very challenging names here. But we've got one from anthropology. And if you are here, as I go through your slide, if you will please stand. I didn't see anyone, or actually I only saw one person. One person from English, another from English, mathematics, also in mathematics, our COS program, philosophy, And one person I do know that is here this evening, I'd like to ask him to stand, is Sean Garrett from the philosophy program. So we're extremely excited about this program. We know that it has a lot of potential. As we enter into future years, we're hoping to expand it and include more disciplines, but for now, we're limited to those areas that you see before you. And last but not least, we'll conclude tonight's presentation with a photo slide of one of the other successful initiatives undertaken through Human Resources and the Staff Equity Committee, which is the Improving Your Marketability Seminar. As you can see, we've had two, or will have two this year. One took place in September, the other will take place at the beginning of February. And some of the main topics covered are understanding the hiring process, interviewing and teaching demonstration tips, preparing your application, and how to get noticed. Really what we're trying to do is expose some people that perhaps haven't had a lot of experience in applying for jobs at the community college level, showing them from the beginning to the end how the process works to make them more employable. So we're very excited about that as well. I believe in the interest of time, that's all that we'll cover this evening. Thank you for your time and attention. And I guess at this point, we'll open up for any questions or comments that the board might have.
Questions, members of the board? Chair recognizes Trustee Aranga.
I'm conflicted here, as I am every year when I get this report. Because what I see year in and year out is significant increases in the ethnicity and demographics of our student population, but not in our staff. 1% per year in change is not significant enough for me to be satisfied with how much progress we're making in terms of diversifying our staff. When you see 6 and 7 and 8% increases in minority students who are attending the college and you only see 1% faculty, that is not significant to me. It seems like every year I have the same issue, and we're still not making progress. Having said that, I am pleased that you are making efforts to address them with the marketability seminar, with the internship program, but where the rubber meets the road is hiring, and that is not happening, at least in significant levels, to make a difference. So I challenge our HR department, I challenge our president superintendent, I challenge our faculty, our administrators, our management team to do better, because these numbers are not impressing me at all. And with that, I have to leave.
Thank you. He's not leaving because he's upset about the report, by the way.
Oh, no.
But I would have to say, though, I appreciate the effort. We've had this discussion previously, and the fact is that Trustee Aranga was very diplomatic, but at the end of the day is the results are not satisfying to members of the board, and we need to do a better job to get the results to truly reflect this community. And we're not there yet. I know we're making efforts to get there, but for whatever reason, it's moving at a pace that is really not acceptable and really is not what we should be doing. So we keep up the effort, we keep working hard, but at the end of the day, results are what matters, and we're nowhere near the level that we should be as far as reflecting the community. And that goes for all walks of the college community. So other comments of members of the board? I'm not leaving, by the way, so if there's no, this was just an informational item. Thank you very much for the report. And we'll move on to the next item, the board. We have, quickly going through, there is no items for the Academic Senate. There is no item for the Superintendent President. There is no items for the Academic Affairs, which brings us to the Student Support Services 11.1, which is our revised curriculum calendar for 2013-2014. This is an action item, so I'll entertain a motion to approve that. Motion by the members of the board. Motion by Trustee Clark, second by Trustee Otto. Correct me if I'm wrong, President Oakley, but this item was brought up previously by the representative from the classified staff, and this item does reflect that.
Yes, it reflects the changes the calendar committee made that were based on changes to winter intersession and the changes to the board-approved holidays during the winter break.
And I don't see Thomas, so, but very good. So there is a motion and a second on the floor.
Just a question.
Chair recognizes trustee Otto.
So tell me the thinking that went into this change.
Well, I will turn it over to Dr. Peterson, who chairs the calendar committee, to give a little insight as to the discussion that was had.
The request was brought forward by the AFT president. Really, the request was that the five board-declared holidays be all during the same week so that employees would have the 23rd and 24th off before the Christmas holiday.
So just the change is just to allow the maximum period of time to consecutively to be taken off.
Correct.
Okay, good.
All right, no other questions from the members of the board? All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Next item under student support is 11.2, which is the Latino Student Success Grant Update. And again, this is informational. President Oakley?
Yes, and for this report, I will turn it over to Dr. Peterson. Just as a recap, I think that the timing is important given that the Campaign for College Opportunity recently released its report on the state of Latino student success in higher education. And of course, as a state, we still see really abysmal success rates for Latino students in higher education. So we've been working with the Lumina Foundation and the many partners that Dr. Peterson will discuss to try and change that phenomenon here in Long Beach. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Peterson.
In November 2011, we were awarded through Lumina, the Lumina Foundation, the Latino Student Success Grant. The first year was a planning year. We have just completed the second year, the first year of implementation. As you can see, as President Oakley mentioned, this work led by Lumina is really targeting collaborative work, and so this grant is a collaborative grant, and you'll see our 9 primary partners at the bottom of the screen there: Long Beach Unified School District, City of Long Beach, Centro Cha, Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce, Long Beach Nonprofit Organization, Cal State University Long Beach, Building Healthy Communities through the California Endowment, and then the Campaign for College Opportunity. The Lumina Foundation has made a very strong commitment to supporting President Obama's goals of increasing the number of Americans with high quality degrees and credentials. And key to that, achieving that goal, is increasing the number of Latinos who complete high quality degrees and credentials. The Latino Student Success Grant provides community funding really to focus on the pipeline for Latino students to complete college. Really looking at moving those numbers and using a collective impact model to achieve that. Through the Lumina grant, there are 13 communities involved. There are 2 in California. We are one of those 2. Our grant, as we built our plan to increase the number of Latino students completing college, we decided to have two foci. The first is the work that we're doing through Promise Pathways, so the direct services to students, and that's all functioning through the existing structures here at the college. The second was, in response to Lumina's focus on collective impact, we have been working on developing a community-wide collective impact structure. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit more about today. So collective impact is a model that came out of Stanford that is used by multiple communities across the nation. It brings organizations from different sectors together around a common agenda, gets them to identify shared measurements so they can really measure across their efforts with the impact they're having on their goals. It helps align the activities that they're doing so they're mutually reinforcing. So it doesn't ask all the organizations to do the same thing, just really coordinate what they're doing. It pushes for continuous communication between the organizations, and then identifies a backbone structure to continue this work, sustain the conversations and the work moving forward between the partner organizations. Through the grant process, currently Long Beach City College has served as that backbone organization. Our first goal, as we began to launch the collective impact model, we realized that we needed to build an infrastructure in Long Beach to make this possible and sustainable. So we implemented in February a Partner Development Institute, and we really targeted our nonprofit organizations here in Long Beach. We invited over 30. We had 19 take us up on the offer and join us in the institute. The goal was really to develop the partner network in order to achieve collective impact. And we focused on four main learning areas: cultural competency in serving the Latino community here in Long Beach, identifying high impact practices that would lead to Latino student college completion, data infrastructure, how to share data across organizations, and then building organizational capacity to forward this work. Here is a quick look at the 19 participants we've had. You can see there's a lot of diversity in the group here. Large organizations, small grassroots organizations. We have a couple parent organizations involved. So really a good mix representing the community. And here are pictures again of our partners as they've participated. So we've had 19 organizations, over 60 participants over the last 10 months. The work we've been doing, really bringing them together, is to build for this next step, which we've identified as our partners in creating mini grants to help test out this model of collective impact. So through the Lumina grant, we've identified $100,000 to be made available to support these one-year mini grants for 2 consortiums of 3 to 5 of our partner organizations. So it's really to get these nonprofits to begin to work with the educational institutions in Long Beach and figure out how we work together in this collective impact model. They'll be asked to identify one of the 5 key leakage points in Latino college student pipeline in Long Beach. And those 5 key leakage points are high school completion, high school graduation, transition from high school to college, college preparation, so decreasing the need for remediation, college persistence, and then college degree certificate completion. Consortiums will also be provided additional professional development this next year, and then support by critical thought partners. And so each of the educational institutions will be a critical thought partner, as well as the California Endowment's Building Healthy Communities. And then we will run a request for applications process for our partner organizations to apply. That will get posted this week, and then we'll close December 10th so we can award and start the mini grants in January for next year. So we're really excited about the work that we've been able to accomplish and the level of involvement in our community in this work. And we're excited about the mini grant opportunities moving forward and what we can learn and begin to expand and sustain.
Questions, members of the board? Chair recognizes Trustee Clark.
Yeah, I think it is an absolute essential, because I think close to 40% of our population in this state is Hispanic. And if we don't educate that Hispanic population, we're not going to have a successful workforce as well educated we've had in the past. So it isn't, I think, just a matter of helping the Hispanic community. I think it's helping the entire community to have a workforce that is highly educated. I think the Hispanic community has the ability to do this, but I think it's a matter of encouraging them and indicating to them the value of an education. And as we all know, that's basically the opening to success in our society is a college degree. And so I think everything we can do to get the Hispanic community involved in education and realize the value of it it's to our advantage as a community or society to help that. Otherwise, I think we don't help it and encourage it, we're going to be hurting ourselves. So I think you're doing a good job.
Other questions? This is an informational item. Hearing none, thank you very much. We'll move on to item 11.3, which is the ASB President's Report. Vice President Peterson.